I'm working on some books right now that people outside the academy might want to read. I'm not sure I have any of those yet, so forthcoming.
Yeah.
But yeah, can I say a thing or two about the school itself?
Yes,
Um,
absolutely. That would be good. Okay.
so what we're doing out here, so Moody closes down, and the question is, what do we do now? And almost immediately, I mean, within a day,
Mm-hmm.
people off campus are starting to ask us, "Are you guys going to start a new school?" And the immediate answer is no. That's crazy, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Uh-huh.
but that question kept coming.
Uh-huh.
People from out of town, family back home, would hear that we're closing down, and their first question is, "So you're going to start a new school?" And the frequency of that question just made us stop and think, well, why
Mm-hmm.
do people keep thinking that's a good idea? Where's that coming from? And there
Mm-hmm.
were a couple of different issues that came up. One was um, particularly in the Pacific Northwest. So if you think of, say, Denver north to the Canadian border, over
Okay.
to about Minnesota, maybe North Dakota, South Dakota, western side of Minnesota, that whole region. So that's about a third of the continental U.S., big chunk of
Mm-hmm.
the country. There are hardly any schools in that entire region, millions of square miles, tens of millions of people,
Uh-huh.
hardly any universities, colleges where you can get a serious Christian education.
Huh.
You've got one or two maybe in Portland, you've got one in Seattle, there's a couple in Denver, and you're done.
Okay.
That's it. And so compared to, say, a Bible Belt region, or maybe
Yeah.
Midwest, where you've got a good Christian liberal arts college on every corner,
Mm-hmm.
back where your Wheatons and your Taylors and your Cedarvilles and your Grace and your Bethel and your, all these kind of schools, there's hardly anything out here. So that was part of it, is this is a region of the country that desperately needs this.
Okay.
The second thing was colleges are expensive, and they're getting worse and worse all the time. Um, when I started college as a freshman at a private Christian college, a good, lots of bells and whistles, lots of programs, all the cool stuff,
Mm-hmm.
it was $16,000 a year.
Yeah.
You
Mm-hmm.
can't hardly find a community college for that price these days.
Right.
Certainly not a major state school, or certainly not a private school. So there
Yeah.
are a couple other private schools in Spokane that start at about 40 or 50,000 a year. Now they're good
Wow.
schools.
Uh-huh.
They're quality institution. You get a great education there. Not everybody can afford that.
Yeah.
Most
Uh-huh.
people can afford that. And it seems to me, as I watch trends over the last few years, people have started to wise up a little bit about debt. Um,
Yeah.
a while ago, it was just go take out a loan, no big deal. Graduate with your art degree and $100,000 in debt. You'll figure it out. And
Mm-hmm.
now people are saying, well, that's a terrible idea.
Yeah.
I'm
Uh-huh.
not going to do that. And so what we've done is looked at, okay, why are schools so expensive? And here's something interesting. The cost of education has not changed in 20 years. Faculty don't make any more money than they did. Pen and paper don't cost any more. Computers cost less than they did 20 years ago.
Is it administrative stuff that's
It's
getting in the way?
extracurriculars and it's administration to run those extracurriculars.
Uh-huh.
So you've got enormous salary bloat at the top of the heap, because all
Uh-huh.
those VPs make VP
Yes.
salaries, and then you've got massive buildings of every shape and size. New gyms and new dorms and new concert halls and student life centers, and that's cool
Infrastructure.
stuff. That's
Uh-huh.
cool stuff, but
Yeah.
that's where
But
tuition dollars are going.
yeah. Uh-huh.
You're not paying for education; you're paying for the college experience.
Yeah.
And I think, look, if you can afford that, blessings on you. Do it.
Yeah.
But don't go into a crazy amount of debt for that. So what we've done is said, look, there's got to be a Christian university that costs like what the cheap local state universities cost.
Mm-hmm.
And that school doesn't hardly exist
Mm.
except for us. So what we have this church here that we rent a facility from. We
Mm-hmm.
do not have a gym. We do not have a dorm. We do not have a cafeteria. We do not have a concert hall or a student life center.
Mm-hmm.
We have some very gracious people who own houses right in the community, right down the street here, who
Yeah.
rent to our students at a really affordable rate. So we
Mm-hmm.
have housing options right here. We put RAs in some of those houses. So there's some accountability, and you send an 18-year-old off to college. There are some people looking out for him. It's not just a free for all. And we cost $15,000 a year.
Wow. Uh-huh.
That's still a lot of money,
Yeah.
but it's a whole lot less. So part of what we're trying to do is say, hey, we're going to be an academic institution. We're going to do academics really well. Every single one of our faculty has a doctorate,
Mm-hmm.
and we're going to keep it that way. And every single one of our faculty is totally on board with the mission of what we're doing. And you're going to come here and you're going to have a great community,
Mm-hmm.
and you're going to learn real life skills. Our students are not moving back home with mom and dad when they graduate,
Mm-hmm.
because they've been living on their own for 4 years. They don't want to do that, and they can afford not to do that.
Yeah.
I talked to a student who graduated just a year ago the other day, and he got here and he had saved up enough money to pay for his tuition the first year. So
Mm-hmm.
he was 1 year's tuition, $12,000 or whatever it was.
Right.
From
Uh-huh.
that point on, he worked his way through school, every dollar of it,
Uh-huh.
including housing and food and
Mm-hmm.
tuition. He got a part-time job. He worked extra hours over the summer. He took out no loans. There wasn't really much financial aid. He just paid his way.
Yeah.
And you can do that. You can't do that at 50,000 a year, but you can do that at 12 or
At 12
13,000 a
to
year.
15,000 a year. Yeah.
If you're willing to get that, 10, 15 hours a week during the semester, and then work full time over the summer, and hey, some of your friends are going to go to the beach for 3 weeks over the summer,
Uh-huh.
and you're not.
Yeah.
But you can graduate, no debt, pay your way through. So that the financial piece is a big deal for us. We just think the cost of school has gone crazy.
Yeah. And it's true. It really is true.
Sustainable.
So I think when we're talking about majoring in the majors, it's kind of
Mhm.
like the things that you're doing, all
Yep.
those extraneous other things which are costing so much
So
for
much.
university education. And you just eliminate those, don't have them.
Yep.
And then,
They're fun. They're good. I mean, we're not saying those are evil
right.
things, but they are
Uh-huh.
not majors. They're not
Yeah.
fundamental to the mission of an academic institution.
Uh-huh.
So what we have, part of what that means also in terms of academics, is we are not going to be doing science degrees.
Okay.
We don't have anything against science degrees, but it costs a tremendous amount of money when you think about labs and faculty and equipment. I mean, that's
Okay.
huge amounts of dollars there. We're just not going to do that. So we have 7 majors. We have a biblical and theological studies major.
Mm-hmm.
We have a communication major, which is the degree for I'm not sure, but you're going to use communication skills no matter what you do the rest of your life.
Absolutely.
There's a leadership degree, which is somewhat similar in terms of career tracks. You're going to use this no matter what.
Uh-huh.
We have an intercultural studies degree.
Mm-hmm.
We have a teaching English to speakers of other languages degree, which is about the most practical get a job anywhere in the world degree there is.
Right.
We have a linguistics degree,
Uh-huh.
and we have a youth and family ministry degree.
Okay.
So those are and then we have certificate programs under each of those.
Yeah.
So that's it. 7 majors. I think we have 11 full-time faculty. We have 3 administrators, and we have 2 office personnel, and that's the whole team.
So it seems to me that the degrees are really oriented or geared toward people after getting their education going out into the world
Yeah.
and using it,
Yes.
especially like going into, I'm guessing, missionary, but,
Mhm.
or into other countries or other environments and places like that to use their degrees, like
Absolutely.
the English, teaching English to non-native speakers.
Right.
Yeah.
If you are willing to teach and able to teach people English, you should never fail for a job.
Yeah.
There's always a place for you, whether in the States or somewhere else.
Yeah.
Either one. One of the other things we've tried to do in terms of getting students ready to go do stuff,
Uh-huh.
the somewhat standard, and I'm stereotyping a little bit, but one of the common ways to get people ready for a job is that you do your 4-year degree, and then either during your senior year or right after you go do an internship.
Okay.
So what can happen, unfortunately, is you do your 4 years of study, and then your first time really doing something is after you've graduated, which means you get out there and you realize you don't really like it that much. but you didn't know that until senior year or
Yeah.
after graduation. So what we have is a field education component where students will start, like, so I've got a couple advisees. So I'm an advisor. I'm meeting with one of my new advisees tomorrow. He's going to show up. We're going to meet, and we're going to talk about field ed, which means every single semester you're here, you're going to be off campus in a workplace in your area. So we're going to figure out, before he even sets foot in the classroom, we're going to get you off campus in a work environment, with an internship of some sort, where you're there and you're going to figure. And if by Christmas you say this is not for me, awesome. Let's switch it up. That's okay. We got plenty of time. You've got 8 semesters of this thing. And it's a neat program. It's really varied. Some students have a very clear idea. Some students have no idea. Some students have a very clear idea that's kind of off the grid. I have a student who just graduated. He's a biblical and theological studies major, but he wants to be bivocational. And he's probably going to end up in a rural community, which means he better know something about the trades. So his field education is working as a carpenter. He's
awesome.
Maybe you've been in these contexts, but I have. And if you go out into rural U.S. and you want to be a pastor in some small town in North Dakota, if you don't know how to build stuff, nobody's going to listen to you. So he's doing his field ed. He's also at his church and volunteering and doing those sorts of things, but his field ed is officially as a carpenter.
Okay.
And he's learning how to build things, because that's going to be really helpful for him once now he's graduated. Now he's working as a carpenter full time.
Yeah.
Figuring out the ministry piece. So it's this flexible thing where you can get really tight to your major, or you can flex it a bit. It's been really good so far. So that's just, it's one of those ways we're saying, hey, you want to graduate and go do something. Let's figure out what that is and get you ready for it. So anyway, so there's my shameless plug for Great Northern University.
Great Northern University.
And also it's in Spokane, which is an absolutely fantastic place to be.
I've never been up to the Northwest. I should go visit sometime. That would be really nice.
Yeah. We are this wonderful mix of Spokane plus Spokane Valley, I think, is about 400,000 people, 300,000 to 400,000. So it's a good sized town.
Yeah.
But like right here in my office, I'm about, call it 7 minutes from downtown to the south, and 15 minutes from the wheat fields north. You've got the rivers going through. If you're into the skiing, if you're into water sports, all the outdoor stuff. We also, and this is important for us, we are the sex trafficking hub of the Northwest. We are a major location as things move from Seattle inland.
And so we got something in common then, because Tampa, Florida has a huge sex trafficking industry also, because it's a port city and yes.
So we want to be in a place where the light needs to go. We're not trying to seclude ourselves or hide. I mean, look, the mess is right here.
Yeah.
So we want our school to be in a place, we want missionally to be in a place where students are going to understand how to get their hands dirty and understand that the world is messed up, and this is how the gospel interfaces with that. So I love the nature. I love the outdoors. I love those things, but I also love that we are not hiding in the world. I think, and Spokane is it's a good place to do that. I mean, you can do that anywhere.
Yeah.
But this is a really strategic place for that intersection.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a great town. It's a great place to be. We love it. So yeah, there you go. Great Northern University.
Well, Mike, thank you. It's been really, really good to see you again. It's been such a long, long time. But yeah, and I would like to do some interviews with people, in my from past and theological education, other people from Fuller also. That I've been in touch with, asking about podcasts, have said, yeah, that would be great, but we still need to arrange and work things out.
Yeah. It's a great idea, but I'm glad we finally got it done. So thanks for taking the time.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you for taking the time too. I appreciate that.
James, I appreciate it. It's good to see you, and I'll see you again soon, I hope.
God bless, bro. Take care. Bye.